Now, the question is about politics, and it's about the branding that goes down in politics here in India. The question is about the Congress party and its caste card. Can this caste card counter brand Modi itself? It's a question that we're asking tonight as election dates have been announced for the states of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, Telangana, as well as Mizoram. Now, the Congress, of course, is banking on this caste census. They're trying to weaken the BJP's OBC vote bank quite clearly. On the other hand, you have the BJP, which is relying on Modi's guarantees to retain Madhya Pradesh and also mount a challenge in the other states.
The caste census now is a central pillar of thinking about equity in this country.
मैं आपसे वायदा करता हूं कि मध्य प्रदेश में कांग्रेस की सरकार बनने पर हम जाति जनगणना का भी कराएंगे।
राजस्थान सरकार भी जातिगत जनगणना करवाएगी, जितनी जिसकी जो जनसंख्या उसकी भागीदारी उतनी होनी चाहिए।
आज मैं यहाँ खड़े हुए घोषणा करना चाहती हूँ, अगर हमारी सरकार दोबारा छत्तीसगढ़ में आएगी, यहाँ भी जाति जनगणना कराई रहेगा।
कि हमें हिंदुस्तान का एक्सरे करना है और कांग्रेस पार्टी की हिंदुस्तान में सरकार है, पहला काम ये हम करके दिखाएंगे।
इनको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है कि मोदी ने बहनों को दी एक गारंटी मोदी ने पूरी कैसे कर ली। ये नहीं जानते मोदी की गारंटी यानी हर गारंटी पूरा होने की गारंटी।
Are the battle lines clearly drawn? Is there clarity on where the two sides stand? How is branding in Indian politics panning out? To decode that, brand guru Harish Bijoor is joining us just to understand the two clashing brands, one of Prime Minister Modi and the other a fledgling brand that is seemingly positioned as a more people-centric brand. Harish Bijoor, thanks for joining us tonight. You know, much has been said about the Modi brand, how it can win elections, how we brand it as a Modi wave. But typically, I want to know from you if you think a brand sustains itself after experiencing massive popularity that runs for more than a decade, or is there some erosion that is inevitable, or is there even a scope for expansion here on?
From a pure general elections perspective, if you really look at it, brand Modi is a very, very big brand. If, we did a recent study across several constituencies, and we come to the conclusion that the one big brand name in India is Prime Minister Modi. The scale of 8.2110. And guess what? The next brand after PM Modi was not a politician, but was a film star. And the film star is Shah Rukh Khan, who came at 4.2. So if you ask me, Prime Minister Modi is still a very solid, strong brand as far as this country is concerned. But if you ask me what's currently happening, very interesting stuff. From a pure marketing perspective, I think the segmentation of the great Indian electorate is happening. The first segmentation was on religious lines, the three dominant religions. And actually the two dominant religions and one micro religion. That done, I think the second wave is occurring now, which is taking a look at that large chunk of Hindus in the country itself and saying that, hey, there are several castes under it. We have 3,000 castes and 25,000 sub-castes in this country. And I think that is what is being aimed at by the opposition. So it's going to be an interesting segmentation game as far as I see it.
Segmentation becoming that much starker. How crucial would it be right now if there has been any erosion in brand Modi, which you say is a very strong brand even today, but to expend it in the state elections? Could a loss of sheen, even slightly, become evident and eat into the vitality of the brand in the general elections? In any case, people tend to vote very differently in state and general elections, right?
Yes, surely. If you look at it, I think the state elections are going to pan out differently. It's quite likely that the caste, calculations are going to count greater in a state election and possibly less at the national election. So the 4 states going into elections right now, they are going to tell us a story on their own. Whether this sub-segmentation, or let me say an attempted sub-segmentation, because please note that any kind of a caste survey, which about 5 states have actually implemented, is going to be announced by all 5, let's say. So it's going to create tumult. Bihar set the, I call it the caste among the pigeons. And that impact is going to happen in 5 states. I'm not so sure whether that's going to convert robustly for the opposition parties in the national general elections. Because in the general elections, the issues are bigger, and possibly the bigger issues are going to dominate over the smaller ones. Last point simply is that whatever is going to be attempted is going to start with a caste census. And the caste census will not happen before 2025, if at all it's going to happen. And implementation of that work is going to take another 5 years, maybe. So I think these are all distant possibilities, but very interesting marketing context to the general elections 2024.
Harish Bijoor, Indian politics has always revolved around individuals. You think there will be takers for this Congress strategy of appealing to individual castes? Do you think there is a customer-centric approach that the Congress has now adopted versus what perhaps could be seen as a very different strategy of the BJP so far, focusing on its big brand and its big mascot?
Well, very interesting point you raise, actually, Vikram, because there are 2 ways of building, traction. One is top-down, and the top-down traction is being built by Prime Minister Modi. And guess what? The second way of building traction is bottom-up. And the bottom-up traction is really when you look at, micro issues such as caste, issues that touch people's hearts, livers, gizzards, whatever matters to them. And these critical issues are going to shake up the calculations at the electoral level. But fortunately for the BJP, BJP does not only have Prime Minister Modi as its top leader, as its brand ambassador, but right at the grassroots level, the BJP incidentally has a very, very Shakha level, booth level activation scheme, which works for it. So the BJP must not be underestimated to be a party which is only top down. It is also bottom up. It's very robust bottom up at the Shakha level. And that is going to be benefiting the BJP for sure. But never underestimate the power of the common caste. Why am I using caste? I'm not saying man, because, caste is a very, very important differentiation. In the big cities, none of us talk caste. He, they, or she, whoever we meet, we don't ask them, what's your caste? But the moment you go to a mini metro, that's where caste becomes bigger. The moment you go deeper into rural, caste is a big animal. And when you go to deep rural, caste is a very, very big animal. Therefore, I would definitely say, never underestimate the power of caste calculations, caste politics.
So
and I think
the positioning of both the brands is quite unique and very interesting, and how this plays out in the state elections, the assembly elections, and it could be vastly different from what turns out in the general elections, is going to be a very interesting piece. Harish Bijoor, we would have loved to carry on with this conversation, but completely out of time. Thank you so much for joining us with your perspective. Pleasure having you with us, and we hope we can reconnect. Thanks indeed.
Bye.
We're also out of time on the show. It's Business at 9. We hope to see you same time tomorrow. Until then,